The McCoy House is a transitional living facility for women who have gone through chemical dependency treatment at an inpatient program. Normally when a client finishes inpatient treatment, they are giving a continuing care plan, and most of the continuing care plans stipulate that they should live in a sober house for a minimum of 90 days and attend an outpatient program. Men or women who are active in addiction and who are working on their recovery, the longer time they have away from their home and from the place where they grew up or where they did drugs or alcohol, or their families, if they're in any way dysfunctional, the better chance they have of sobriety. And that's why we opened the McCoy House. It's named after Neil McCoy, who was local to the Jackson area, and who helped a lot of people. And he died from leukemia 3 years ago. Right before he died, we looked at this house and we decided that it was something that we were going to do. And 2 days before he died, he said, "I think you need to go ahead with the house." So that's what I did, and I told him I was going to call it the McCoy House. And he smiled, and a tear rolled down his face, and he just closed his eyes. And 2 days later, he died. And I'm in recovery from addiction, and I don't think he would mind if I said he was also in recovery from addiction. So we have a passion for addicts who want to get sober. My husband had passed away 10 years ago, and he didn't get a chance to spend his retirement fund. Neil didn't get a chance to spend his retirement fund. I had a retirement fund, and I thought, I'm going to spend it. So I took the money out and I renovated this house. It's a passion, and there's a spiritual feeling to this house when you walk in. I feel it, and I just love it. There's a peace about it. There's a spiritual feeling to this house. It's serene, and we're in the middle of Jackson, and you would actually think that you were in the country. We have I think it's on about 3.5 acres, and it's 3.5 wooded acres, which really adds to the serenity and the peace. The girls who come here, some want sobriety and some don't. Some leave and go out and decide they're going to try it again, but there are several women in the Jackson community who have gone through this house, stayed here. One actually stayed for a year, and she's still sober. One stayed for 9 months, and we have several who stayed for the 90 days or 6 months who are still doing well in recovery. They come from all over. We have women from Kentucky, New York. We actually had one from England, then some from Jackson, some from Florida. Yeah, and when they come to Pine Grove or some of the big treatment centers, they come from all over. And it's best for them not to go back home right away. They do well if they follow the program. They're required to go to 3 12-step meetings a week, to have a sponsor, they have a curfew, they have to have a job, volunteer, or be in school. They have to fill out a daily schedule. They have chores. I'm pretty strict. It's not about the alcohol and drugs when they come here, it's about their attitude and their willingness to help and their willingness to get involved. I think the one thing that they like about me being the owner or the CEO is that I am in recovery myself, so I can relate to what they're going through. Early recovery is very difficult for people. A lot of family members think that they're cured because now they've stopped using alcohol and drugs, but they use alcohol and drugs to cover up feelings. So you take away the alcohol and drugs, and guess what? You got the feelings. So they're like kids when they come here. They have tantrums, and they don't really know how to deal with feelings. So it's a good place for them to be able to talk. And I'm a therapist by profession too, so I kind of have an idea how to deal with them. Very rarely do we see somebody with just one addiction. The essence of addiction is to escape. So when you stop one behavior, whether it's alcohol, drugs, the person still wants to escape. So they're going to stop the alcohol and the drugs, but they might over-exercise, they might overeat, they might overspend, they might get into unhealthy relationships. So instead of a chemical addiction, they get involved in a process addiction, which is an addiction that takes place in the brain. It's just the high-risk behavior that people get into. They need that chaos to escape. We get a lot of young women, and they're smart, but for some reason they've gotten, either in college, they've gotten into the drug scene, and they just get wrapped up in it, and then they've lost their dream. So some of the girls that we get are really intelligent young ladies. It's good to see them do well.